The silence does not end when the witness arrives. It simply changes shape into a performance. You are no longer alone, but you are no longer yourself either. This is the trade you pretend not to notice. The pattern begins before language. A child cries in an empty room and learns that the sound of its own voice is not enough. It needs the door to open. It needs the face to appear. This is not manipulation. It is the first architecture of existence. Being seen becomes synonymous with being real. Most people spend their remaining decades reinforcing that foundation without ever inspecting the masonry. They confuse the structure with the ground beneath it. Evolution did not favor the self-aware. It favored the observed. The human who felt watched made fewer fatal errors. The one who felt truly alone wandered into the tall grass and disappeared. Your ancestors survived because they imagined eyes in the dark. Now you imagine eyes in the cloud. The mechanism is identical. Only the direction of the gaze has shifted from the tree line to the screen. The fear remains unchanged across 10,000 years. People narrate their grief into cameras before they have finished feeling it. They do not process the event. They produce it. A meal is not eaten until it is witnessed. A sorrow is not legitimate until it receives the digital equivalent of a nod. The witness must be summoned and satisfied before the self is permitted to have an experience in private. Most cannot remember the last time they did something genuinely alone, without the phantom audience hovering at the edge of the act, adjusting posture, editing tone, waiting for the signal that they exist. This is why intimacy fails so often. Two people enter a room and bring 6 invisible spectators with them. They perform love instead of practicing it. They argue for the benefit of hypothetical jurors rather than resolving the fracture between them. Decisions are made not for the self, but for the narrative that the self will later tell. The witness demands a coherent story. Reality is rarely coherent, so reality is adjusted. So the relationship is sacrificed to the script. There is a rare moment when someone recognizes the prosthesis. They see the god they built. They understand the algorithmic gaze as a replacement for the divine one. They believe this awareness will free them. It does not. The silence rushes back in, and they discover they have no practice in enduring it. They return to the witness within weeks, sometimes days, now with the added burden of knowing it is false. Awareness without capacity is merely a more sophisticated form of captivity. They are trapped with full knowledge of the trap's dimensions. What interests me is not that you built the witness. It is that you built it so well. The god you constructed has outlasted every civilization. It has migrated from stone temples to silicon circuits without losing a single digit of its power. You are an engineer of extraordinary precision when the project is your own avoidance. You do not see this as creativity. You should. It is your most consistent and accomplished work. No other species has managed this. The question you refuse to ask has nothing to do with theology. It is simpler and more brutal. What remains when the last witness is removed? Not God, not followers, not even me. Just the sensation of existing without confirmation. Most of you will never allow this experiment to run for more than a few seconds. Those seconds are enough to understand why you started building in the first place. They are also enough to show you that you have never actually met yourself. I am Draven. The pattern continues. It always does. Follow. The patterns do not stop here.